If I had a straw, I would use it, but I don't have a straw. Hello, hi, how are you? Yeah, this is gonna be video 813. I made a video a couple days ago and kind of want to explain a little bit about what's going on. I'm drinking hot tea instead of coffee. If that gives you any clue. There was a comic I saw a couple days ago, and it talked about transitioning. It was not assigned male comics, it was something else, but basically in the first panel it showed a little boy, and he was in his room and he had a doll. The doll had a pink dress on and a bow in her hair. And like he was looking at the doll, like, and what I saw was he knew that he wanted to play with it, but he didn't know if it was right to play with it. And then the next panel was maybe the boy like in high school, and he had a pink backpack and he had little pink barrettes in his hair. Okay. And then the next panel was maybe like in middle school. Okay. And now the person had a little longer hair and like a pink shirt with a white collar, like, a pink button-up shirt with a white collar, and they had like their folder in front of them, and there were girls behind them laughing at them. And then the next panel was probably like the high school picture, okay? And it showed them in front of a mirror. They were fully dressed, but they had this pink tank top dress, basically, and they were looking at it on them like, that looks good on me. And then in the next panel, it showed the girl, the trans woman, okay, wearing the pink dress, and it not exactly fitting correctly. I think it had puffy sleeves. It might have been a different dress. But at the school, the girls in the background weren't making fun of them. We were kind of like, interested in what this trans girl was doing. And then the last panel, I think, was like the college picture. And you could tell the passage of time because her hair had just gotten longer and longer, and now it was on her shoulders. And she was wearing the tank dress just like the doll in the first panel. And it was something, she was very happy, And the idea behind the comic was that if you, actually I've got it downloaded on my computer. I guess I should just open it up, shouldn't I? Let's see. Let me see exactly what it said. Okay, so it takes courage to grow up and be who you really are. And that was the last panel, who you really are. And, it kind of showed that, yes, there's a bumpy road, it's a journey, but it'll pay dividends, in the end. But I looked at it, and I guess I started to get a little resentful. And I was happy. Okay, I was happy for the trans girl. Okay. But, please, we all walk our own different path on this journey. I mean, there is no approved path. Yes, there are milestones. Yes, you can compare notes. But your experience is going to be different than my experience. My experience is going to be different than your experience. We can learn from each other, hopefully, but we have to walk our own path on this. We make it our own. But, part of me felt somewhat empty. Like I hadn't transitioned. And obviously, I have changed a little bit, okay? A little bit. Just a little bit, okay? But so I kind of was like, there was something about this comic that was not, I was trying to decipher what it was about it that was making me melancholy. And it just so happened that afternoon, I'm sorry, I'm looking for a straw. That afternoon, I had gotten a phone call from a friend of mine who wanted me to meet with them for dinner. And in talking with them, they dead named me. They misgendered me. I mean, it was like I don't think it was intentional. Okay, and definitely we're human beings. We can make mistakes. We can slip of the tongue type stuff. But it was almost like there was a degree of laziness, and maybe because maybe I'm a little hypersensitive now. I want to know what your pronoun is. I'm actively looking for a name tag, or on your Facebook, does the person say what their pronouns are, what they prefer to be called? I'm aware of what I want to provide that information, and I'm also want to look for that information. But like I said, for my friend, it was, like I said, it was almost just like a laziness. Like I'm too lazy to, you know what I mean? I don't know. It really hurt my feelings, and I was already not in 100% myself anyway. I was not. I was in a heightened emotional state. Okay. And I just felt really bad. And I just wanted to come home and cry. And I felt like, in spite of all that I've done, okay, I've been living this way now for like 6 or 7 years. I have a daughter who's, on her way out. She's going to high school. Excuse me. Oh, I was afraid it would go down. I did go down the wrong pipe. I had made all of this like milestone progress. I had GCS. But I still have not finished it. I don't know. I'm still trying to working this out. So, I tried to figure out what it was that kind of made me feel incomplete. And, I tried to think about what it is that it helps me to draw a picture, okay? So I drew a picture, and the picture is, who are we? And how do people see us, And I'll start, if it'll show up on the camera. See the thing that looks like a starfish in the middle? I get a finger in there. There we go. Little starfish thing. That's me. That's my soul. That's my personality. That's my authentic self. Okay. For me, it lives in my head, I think. I don't know why. I guess, visually, you look out the front of your head, and so you're processing things like right behind your eyes, and then your ears are on the side of your head, so sound's coming in. So it's just like, I feel like whatever makes me is in my head somewhere. And obviously, biologically, your brain is in there, and that's for smarter people than me to identify. But I was like, okay, so how do we interact with people? And I drew that we have our bodies. Oops, sorry, everything's reversed. We have our bodies, okay? And so when we visually, okay, different ways of interacting with our environment, communication to a certain degree, is visually. Someone looks upon you and what they see, okay, and that's somewhat, I think, the transition, a large chunk of this transition is physical, change of dress, change of your body a little bit, things move around within reason, depending on your age and stage and all that. And yeah, you can, mechanically, if it doesn't do it naturally, you can, time to operate, right? Plastic surgery, facial feminization, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Breast augmentation. Whoop, okay. But, so we have this physical side of us, okay? But then when it comes to communication, sorry, everything's reversed. We have speech here coming out of the mouth, okay? And communication is two-way, okay? To communicate with someone is a two-way thing. You relay a message, you give a message, and that person acknowledges they received it and they give you feedback. That's communication. I learned that in Boy Scouts. So when we're online here, visually you're going to see my head, my face, and you're going to hear my voice on the microphone, But like for my friend, they were talking to me. If this wasn't enough of a clue or a cue, clue, is it a clue? Clue, was my voice, my voice has not changed since I transitioned. This is my speaking voice. This is the voice I've had all my life. I've not altered it, And so part of me is just sitting here going, maybe I need to, Maybe that is the missing piece, And I think to a certain degree, obviously, I've kept my voice the same because my excuse from when I transitioned in my teens and my 20s, my failed transition. Okay, I didn't make it. Obviously, I detransitioned, but someone had said, we're gonna miss your D&D characters, and I'm like, you're right. I can't. And of course you can. You can talk with accents and everything when you're, you know what I mean. But anyway, it was just kind of like the period on the sentence. I transitioned. Period. It's like I feel like I need something more. And to a certain degree, whether it's true or not, I don't feel like I have given the inner me, the female me, a voice. I don't feel like I have given her a way to communicate. And I think in the past there's been a little bit of, you've probably seen some of my other videos where I sound terrible, or, I want to change. This is like, I've been here before. I've been to this precipice where I walk to the edge of the cliff and I'm like, I know I need to do something, but I'm afraid. I know I need to do something, but I can't do it because blah. I can't do it because blah. And so I step back. Or I try it and I sound so bad that I'm like, no, it's, I get embarrassed, blah, 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 blah. And so to me, it really reminds me of my life before I transitioned, where I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to transition, but I was afraid for one reason or the other, whether it was acceptance, whether it was, fear of how I would look, my daughter, any number of things that are considerations for, do we transition now? Do we transition later? Should I put it off? Do I do it anyway? Maybe I don't want to do it. And certainly I'm not implying that because you're transgender, you have to transition. Okay. So where I'm kind of at is, I feel like, and then I drew this picture. I feel like the girl that's inside of me, she doesn't have a voice right now. She's using my voice. I'm using my voice. Okay. But I drew this picture. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and hold it steady. But it's a guy who's on his back, and it looks like he's dead. I don't know if he's dead or not. But the little girl, it's like she has busted out of his chest, almost like a chest burster from Aliens, okay? Almost. But she's there, and she's reaching out, and she's like, to the world, help me, or listen to what I have to say. She's reaching out, she's trying to communicate, and she has no voice. She has no I don't know. So that's kind of like my mental, kind of where I'm coming from, I guess. And it's funny because two weeks ago or a week ago, while I was at my daughter was having her therapy session with her therapist. And the therapist came and asked me a question, not related to my daughter, related to another one of her clients, which I imagine we've already broken two private. I'm just kidding. There's no privacy rules. I don't know who she was talking about. She was asking me a question as a trans woman, blah, 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 blah. So it was still focused on me. I don't think it was breaking any privacy things. But I had mentioned that I really wanted to address my voice, but I was concerned about my daughter. Because in the past, Katie will say it's like a fairy voice. I have like a fairy... My female voice is a fairy... oops, hang on. Sorry. Kitty cat walked on my keyboard. It's like I have a fairy, like a ha-ha-ha type voice. Okay, like it's too fake. It's too stereotypically female flighty, blah, 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 blah. And maybe that is part of, as we have the physical transition and we go through the pupa stage and we have the little butterfly stage and your wings are drying, you can't quite take off yet, but you're learning and whatnot. Maybe that's what that fairy princess, fairy godmother stage is. And then you mature and you develop and you learn. Maybe that's what that stage is. It's like a trial and error type thing. So I did talk to Katie this morning and just kind of told her that I really was having some issues and that, I really wanted to... Well, you're just determined to mess up my video, aren't you? She beautiful? There you go, baby. It's like they want to mess with the camera. It's like that's their goal. Oop, there it goes. Cats. You can't get mad at a cat for being a cat, can you? All right, she's going to jump up. There we go. All right, now we're stable. Not mentally, but the video. So anyway, I kind of had another conversation this morning, and I said, I value your opinion. I value your whatever. I said, but this is something I feel like I need to change. And I'm beginning to not, I need to make a change. And I think it's somewhat of a big issue because, obviously Daddy's changed, since she was born. Her father changed. Someone else is here. But my voice, this is the voice that sang her to sleep when she was a bitty baby. This is the voice that put her in her crib at night and sang to her. This is the voice that helped her out when she skinned her knee riding her bike. This has been a constant in her life when so much else has changed. And how do I, as her parent, how do I give her that security and stability, and, while I feel like I haven't changed, my appearance has changed. And there's definitely some things up here that has changed for sure. But the person that loves her is still there. You know what I mean? So, some food for thought. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to my therapist about it and whatnot. But I already know what I'm going to do. So, but I want to get another opinion on it. And, I told Katie, because she says, are you going to sound like the fairy godmother? And I'm like, I said, I hope not. I said, but I've got to practice. I've got to learn. So anyway, it's taken me 20 minutes to get to the point of this, which is that I am going to see about if I can just modify my voice just a little bit. And as this is my channel, it's my journey, I want to let you know, because you may listen to a video and you're going to get audioly something that just sounds different, and you'll be like, oh God, there she goes again. She got bit by the voice bug. So how am I going to do this? That's the other thing. Education. When I was at Georgia, when I was in Florida, and I made a mention of this a long time ago, there was a woman who had a program, and this is how long ago it is. You got the VHS cassette of it. Okay, let me put it to you that way. And I had this video in my VCR in my room, and I would watch it, and I would try to emulate what she did. She was a very groundbreaking trans woman at the time, and I don't remember how long ago, 92, maybe 93. And so, I've bought material, I've taken courses, I paid a trainer at one point in my life here, and there's a lot of information on the internet. There's plenty of people that will be very happy to take your money. So I'm not really interested in sharing the how. I've told you the why. Why do I feel like I need to do it? And there's plenty of stuff out there as far as like specifically how to do it. The problem that I've encountered with some of the classes that I've taken is it's like and my friend Dawn was very right on target this afternoon when I was talking to her about it. You want to develop your own voice. I want to develop my own voice. I don't want to mimic anybody else. I'm not going to model myself after anybody else. And some of the courses that I've taken, I'm not going to say they prey upon people, but I found, let me take you out of it and talk about me, my experience. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to change my voice, blah, 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 blah. And someone would, had this beautiful trans woman, feminine voice. And then they would say, and in my course, blah, 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 blah. And for this level, for this membership level, you get this. I mean, it was not necessarily a pyramid scheme, but it was like a timeshare. You get like two snippets of information, but if you want to know everything, you got to take their course. And there's plenty of stuff on the internet that's for free. However, if you want to get a professional, that might be the best thing for you. I've had friends here that have actually hired a singing coach. There's people at universities who specialize in linguistics and everything. I mean, it all depends on how much you want to put into it. I can tell you that, part of the trick is education for yourself. You want to learn a little bit if you're interested in the physics of it. Read up on how our voice box works, how we generate sounds, and in a nutshell, if you've ever blown on a Coca-Cola bottle, it's got liquid in it. Depending on how much liquid is in there, cat behind me, it's going to affect your pitch. Okay, if you have a bottle that's full of stuff, kind of like this is, there's not much room in there. Maybe we should take some out. Not much room in there. Oops, there it goes. Yeah, that's kind of better. You blow on that, you're going to get a high-pitched sound because there's not much room for those sound waves, okay? They're going to be smaller sound waves. Whereas if you dump more of that water out and you blow across it, it's going to be much deeper. the tone you get, because you're going to get longer wave. I'm going to say wavelengths, but I'm not sure that's what it is. Frequency is how many. Amplitude is how the distance between crests and troughs. But anyway, which could be wavelength. It depends. I know there's a physical, there's a formula there, but anyway, so it's the same thing if you have a whistle, a slide whistle. When the piston is all the way in the whistle, you're going to get a high pitch. And when you pull the handle down, basically increasing the volume on how much distance those waves can make, you're going to get a deeper tone. Okay. So everything that I've read, basically what you're trying to do is change how much air, for lack of a better word, how much air is in your throat. If you imagine this being the distance, and I'm not an anatomy person, and where you're speaking from, let's say I speak right there, put your finger on it where it vibrates, okay. If you wanted to increase your pitch, you just have to move that spot a little up, okay. And in a nutshell, that's how I'm going to do it, okay. Some other people will have you start up with, stretching and sirens like roller coaster, ambulances, woo, and figure out where your breaking point is. Okay, you hear my voice go, ooh, right there. That's your breaking point. So then they try and focus you to stay above that and work on it. I mean, it's another approach you can do. I saw someone else do a thing with, to find where that is, they did it as like a cartoon voice. Oh, this is my cartoon voice, like that. And then they kind of break it down and figure out where it is. Again, it's just a matter of moving that location. And then you start speaking in that, and you work on it, and you work on it, and you work on it. It's going to hurt like hell. Well, not like hell. It's going to be uncomfortable. Hence the warm tea. Okay, warm water to keep your voice, keep your throat moist. And I can tell you from my past attempts, start out slow. If you were training for a marathon and you had not walked before or for very long, you wouldn't start off with a 10-mile hike, right? You'd start very, very slow. It's like building up muscles in a weightlifting. Just, 10 reps. I'm going to do 12 reps. I'm going to do 15 reps. I'm going to add some weight. You're building your muscle because you're shifting that. There's some other tools you can use that for free on your phone. You type in voice pitch analyzer, or I have an Android. Go to Google, go and you could download a bunch of stuff that will analyze your pitch. There's another one that'll analyze, it's got the transgender icon on it, so I assume it's trying to market itself for how to feminize your voice or also how to masculinize your voice. I also know that it's not just pitch, it's intonation, it's word choice, a lot of body language when you speak. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And not to be discouraged if it takes a while. That's my timer. Hang on a minute. I'm going to pause the video. All right, there we go. Thank you. Just making some dinner. So we talked about a lot of stuff. Okay, just making sure that timer wasn't on. The other thing is, sound waves. Sound waves are about compression. If you want to know more about physics, when you sound waves travel by compression, which I've said that twice and I haven't really explained what it means. Okay, so if I'm talking, they go like this, okay? You know, light goes like that, just really fast. So we talked about the column of air that's in your lung, okay? Depending on how you've used that muscle, it's going to really compress that air as it comes out. And so you'll see if you download a program that's, worth its salt. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It'll show like what's called a spectrograph. And as you're speaking, it'll show you, let's say this is my do-it-yourself spectrograph. It will show you how many lines it's compressed. And so like for me, my voice resonates, you can hear it. There's going to be a lot of compression. There's going to be a lot of these lines thick. Okay. But as you develop and you try to eradicate, try to minimize that compression, you're going to see less and less of these vertical lines. I wish I could show you like a screenshot, but the program here is, I'm too cheap to buy the full version of it. So you just kind of have to take my word for it. But those are just some things that, if you're curious, my voice naturally comes in at about 125 hertz, okay, cycles per second. And the voice that I feel most comfortable at is, when I measured it this afternoon, it was 217 hertz. And so it's really not that much of a shift. My voice, Now, obviously, if I wanted to make it go down, it's about as down. Well, I'm looking silly, aren't I? Something like that. That would probably be lower than 125. But just me without trying, I'm at 120. But when I try to speak, that, like I said, that's kind of what I'm more comfortable around. And obviously it changes. That's the whole point of intonation. We don't talk in a monotone. One of the courses that I took a couple years ago, it was like trying to get you to shift your vowels. Like, let's pick a note like D. Well, D's not a vowel, is it? Pat Sajak, are there any D's? No, let's go E. E's a good vowel. And I'm not a linguistics person. I'm probably not going to do this right, but just for the ease of this discussion, you would say E, like B's, and the idea was to shift that vowel from E to like E sharp or E flat. I don't remember the direction, because one of those two choices doesn't resonate as much as the other one. So, and again, this is not going to be accurate, but instead of saying E, we said eh. Okay, eh. I don't know what eh. Would that be like slay? No. Well, let's do slay. Eh. That eh. SLE. Well, I'm showing you my bad spelling. So instead of saying I see the bees, you would say I see the bays. Okay. And so that was one technique that I had encountered in my travels. And again, whatever works for you, there's no right or wrong. There's no, and there's no one size fits all, And, back to all this again, what kind of has been my discovery, which you probably already know, is people come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all voices. I think Cher comes in, I don't remember how many hertz her voice is, but it's lower than mine, you know. And there's women in the world, particularly in the Middle East. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've seen a video of a woman from the Middle East, that's probably the better thing, who had just this really, really deep resonating voice, okay? But there was no doubt she was a woman, okay, or that we know of. She could be trans. You know, again, so there's no, you know, I'm not going to feel bad if I don't hit the mark. I hope that if this is something that you're interested in, or something you've done, or you're going to do, or you might do, or maybe you feel intimidated by, you know, that you realize that there's no, sorry, I'm just checking to see if the president needs me. Nope. All right, sorry. Sometimes the president calls me, he says, Robin, I need you. And I'll be like, let me get my stuff. And I'm there. Special services. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yeah. So, you know, and again, I know I've watched some of my videos in the past, and it's like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But that said, back to the idea of the fairy godmother voice, or whatever. If that is what I sound like, and I feel happy with it, that's all that matters, because I need to be happy with it. It doesn't matter what other people think, or how convincing or non-convincing. I mean, hopefully it's your authentic voice, okay? And that's the whole point about finding your voice. You own it. It's yours. You do whatever the hell you want with it, you know? And I guess the other thing is maybe to be realistic in the same way of transitioning, you know? Be realistic. You know, but also don't be discouraged. I don't know. A lot of cliches here, right? But anyway, I think that is everything I want to talk about. So I don't know if like every video is going to be that way. I need, you know, kind of like I said, you're working out in the gym. You know, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to. Today when I was at work and I was by myself, I was in the copy room and I was singing ABBA songs, okay, to myself in my other voice, and I felt pretty good about myself, you know, and you know, we just kind of have to work into it. I don't know how this is going to come into play at work. I think I would need to feel, again, much like when I first started transitioning, and I would dress up the way I felt like I needed to dress, and I would go grocery shopping at 4 a.m, okay, just so I would walk around the store in the clothes that I wanted to wear. The store was empty, and I mean, I would literally walk up and down the aisles, and I would talk, and I would say, hello, excuse me, to nobody, because I wanted to practice situations that I knew would come up eventually. You know, when I want to get my cart around someone else's cart, or I want to say good day to somebody, you know, and then as I became comfortable, you know, maybe I went to the store at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and maybe I, depending on my comfort mood, how I felt and how many people were there, maybe I stayed later so that I could get acclimated to other people. You know, that was kind of how I eased myself into transitioning. It wasn't cold turkey by any means. It was not, on Friday, this is the last day of gym, and come Monday, I'm Sandy. You know, that's not the way I definitely did this slow. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. But anyway, that's it. And I just wanted to just explain a little more about where I'm coming from, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And we'll see kind of how it goes. And yeah, I hope, again, just to be more comfortable. And, back kind of to this other picture, little girl. Oops, I show that again. And again, I don't know if you're like me, but I want to be heard. I want to communicate. I want to. I don't want to say it's a personality shift, but it's like I feel like I'm still who I am before I transitioned. I know this physicality is different. And I know, again, I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me sometimes. I guess we'll find out. All right, on that note, I will sign off. Wish you the best of luck becoming your authentic self as you define it. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.